Hi, it's me, Cheryl Lee. Welcome to Disgracefully Graceful, the show about staying fit, healthy, active, entertained and connected to the community as we age.
Activity start.
We nearly done.
On the way, okay, we found a gentleman. Okay, we found a gentleman. The sun is shining. What a great time to road test one of the popular walks we are so lucky to have around our fabulous town. Whether it's from being less active as we age, or like me and many other people, you may have put on the COVID-5 during lockdown restrictions. Being in isolation was all too easy to put on a couple of unwanted kilos, so let's get moving and try and move them. Come with me as we road test that Waterfall Gully to Mount Lofty hike. Obviously, before you embark on any exercise, be smart and consult your doctor. Also, you know your own body, so listen to it. Do you need any special equipment? Well, many walkers go in sneakers, but a good pair of hiking boots will give you a little bit more traction, particularly in the wet. You can use hiking poles for a bit more support. There's no right or wrong, just do what feels right for you. Remember to slip, slop, slap, grab a hat and some sunscreen and take a water bottle which you can refill at the summit. There's a cafe at the top too, so check its opening hours. So do you agree, sometimes the hardest thing about starting any exercise is the first step, walking out that door. So I'm going to jump in the car and I'll see you there. So here we are at the car park at Waterfall Gully. Some info about the Mount Lofty Summit hike. The distance is 7.8, so nearly 8 kilometres. And according to the website Walking SA, which gives you heaps of walking options, the duration of this one can be anywhere from 1.5 hours to 3 hours return. It's suitable for walking, hiking, jogging. The trail class is a grade 4, so it's classed as a hard hike. The terrain is steep and the total elevation is 475 metres. So go to the walkingsa.org.au website where you can see that there are many interesting walks. Gyms are open again after COVID, and if you can get to one, great. Although a walk is free. It's a free way to get moving without the financial commitment of a membership. And you can sort of ease your way back into exercising. You don't even have to drive to a hike. There are plenty of parks around our beautiful state. So you can start by doing laps of your local park. But what I love about a bush hike is the commune with nature. It can be really therapeutic, walking through the trees, and sometimes you can be lucky enough to see some wildlife. We're going to have a chat to some walkers here about their experiences, and we're going to walk the 4 kilometres up to the top of Mount Lofty together. Let's get going. Welcome back to Disgracefully Graceful. We're with one of the most hardest working gentlemen
I was going to say disgraceful.
and that in South Australian or Australian rock and roll. Not one, not two, but 3 bands.
Yes.
Mr. Dave Gleeson, of course, frontman of the Screaming Jets and the Angels, but most importantly, Dave and Crafty.
Yeah, well, that's something that came up out of the blue, isn't it?
Yeah, that's been keeping you busy while we've been a little bit in levels of lockdown.
Yeah, it has, and it's been unreal that people have been tuning in every week, even though things are opening up a bit more, so yeah, it's great.
Thankfully. So we are going to be asking people about their diets. We might speak to some vegetarians or, different people about what they eat and what they do diet-wise to keep healthy. Dave, what do you do diet-wise on the road? What could you...
Oh, that's a hard one. I rarely eat breakfast, but on the road I think, well, I should get healthy and eat breakfast, and then I'll have eggs Benedict, which not much healthy about that. But yeah, you kind of eat where you can and get food where you can. There's always a backstage rider that'll have,
liquid lunch.
Yeah. And of course, cheeses and meats and stuff like that. So yeah, it's hard to eat well on the road.
Yeah.
That's why I try to eat well at home.
All right. So when you are at home on the farm, what do you like to eat and what do you like to cook at home?
Oh, just your normal staples: spaghetti bolognese, chicken schnitzel. I do a good one of those. Love to crumb and batter my own fish. The kids enjoy that.
Sounds a bit like pub food.
Yeah, surprise.
Alrighty, so you've got a couple of favourite recipes. Are these Dave Gleason classics?
Yeah, they're ones that I just go to all the time. They're pretty easy to do.
Yeah, on the barbie.
On the barbie, or at home. Actually, my wife blew up the stove the other night, so.
That sounds like something
No.
Bless her.
So,
that's a good idea.
So thankfully, I get to come here and use the barbecue and make a couple of my favourites.
Alrighty, so what are you going to cook for us today?
First of all, like a roast root vegetable soup.
Yum.
Which is pretty easy. You just there's not much to it at all. And then a roast leg of lamb. I've always start, barbecued leg of lamb.
Perfect.
So I've always liked to do that with all the trimmings and the roast potatoes and stuff. So yeah.
All right. Well, let's go do it.
Let's do that.
Rightio. We're going up there. Surely on Disgracefully Graceful. Today we are road testing the walk from Waterfall Gully to Mount Lofty Summit in an effort to help us all get motivated and maybe try lose some of those COVID-5 that I know I've put on. Now if you come at peak times like early in the morning or straight after work, the track can be quite busy. In fact, it can be a bit tricky to secure a car park and you may need to drive around quite a few times. Now having regularly walked this track for a long time, taking a photo at the top every time to keep me honest with whoever I've walked with. I had a look at those photos on the computer and realised that the very first time was actually September 2010, so 10 years ago. Work that out, having climbed it every week, so 52 times a year for 10 years, that's over 500 times. Imagine all the money saved in gym memberships. Now there have been a few changes. For those who have walked Mount Lofty in the past, you'll know that over these last 10 years it's become more and more paved, and now it's almost covered from the bottom to the top. We're with Dave Gleason, and he's going to show us how he makes his traditional roasted root vegetable soup and traditional roasted lamb with rosemary and garlic. Is that right?
Yeah. It's pretty simple, really. I think everyone's got this in their arsenal.
I bet. But let's hear Dave's version. What do we do?
Well, this is the first time I've ever done a cooking show. Although I watch them all the time. With the root vegetables, like with any soup, I cut up onions, celery, and and garlic, and put them and fry them off in the pan.
We'll fry them off.
But I also
you sound like MasterChef.
I am like MasterChef. Well, I'm like Jocks on Phil. And then I also put onions in the pan because they get a real great sweetness about them. And that's kind of what you're doing by roasting all these off, is getting a bit of caramelisation in them. They get to that point where they're just so soft and mushy, then you cook them off a bit and up we go.
All right, let's do it. So here we are at the 900 metre mark. We're nearly a K into our walk up to the Mount Lofty Summit. There are other options, other routes that you can take, like this one behind me, that'll take you around the long way, and it's not quite as steep. Take you a little bit longer, but miss out those really, really hard bits. Now, if you like, you can set a timer or an app to track your steps or your Ks. Runkeeper's a good one, but there are many to choose from. And it's not a race, but some like to see how they're tracking against previous walks. So we'll put the Runkeeper app on and let's get this show on the road.
Activity started.
Ashish.
Ashish
Rani.
and Rani. So have you done Mount Lofty before?
Yes, we do once a week.
What, every week?
Every week, yes.
Well done, so do I. It's lovely to meet you. How long have you been doing it for each
About
week?
3
About
months.
3 months now. Yes, about 3 months now.
And you like it?
Yes.
Yeah, very much.
So what do you love about Mount Lofty?
Yeah, it's a track where you can do the circuit basically, so it's climb and rest, and you get spectacular view at the top.
You sure do. What's your name?
Mine is Mohan Hirani,
Lovely to meet you. How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
68.
Well done.
Yeah, it's
Good on you.
No, this is part of our spare time, so I highly recommend, and it's good to see so close to city that we got something like this.
We're so blessed, aren't we?
Oh, we don't realize.
How often do you do it?
Frequently as we can. When the weather is good, we don't hang around, just go and do it, and it's magical.
We nearly died. It's really not true. It's hard work.
How often do you do Mount Lofty?
No, this is the first time we've done it.
First time as we've got virgins.
Yeah, we did half of it last week and went, that's enough. We did it today. Nearly died.
And you made it to the summit.
Yeah.
Well done. I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.
And will you do it again? That's the big
Yes.
question.
Well, we're aiming to.
Yeah, it's good for our fitness, isn't it?
And what's your favourite thing about Mount Lofty?
We've seen an echidna, kangaroos, beautiful birds.
All today.
No, we saw the echidna the other day, but we saw kangaroos and birds today.
This is as good as a lot of places in this park. Like obviously you start going elsewhere in Adelaide, it's not quite as good, but yeah.
Oh, great to hear that. Well,
Yeah.
Peter and Bob, thank you so much for stopping and chatting with us today.
Pleasure.
Enjoy the rest of your walk.
Okay, thanks.
There
You're
we go.
pretty good at that, actually. You've done this before.
Oh, yeah. Now, with carrots, I've found that it's between 12 and 14 goes. Every carrot, doesn't matter the size of the carrot, it takes between 12 and 14 goes around to peel a carrot.
Sort of like shearing a sheep.
These are the kind of things that I think about when I'm cooking. Wow, that's amazing. I count my steps as well sometimes.
And how about the kids? Do they do very much cooking?
Nah, they're like everyone else's kids. They just come to the place at the table at meal time and then
And whinge.
sneak away.
So it's a nice sort of chunky rusty.
Yeah, nice and chunky,
recipe.
just to get plenty of heat into them. You need oil and some
Yep.
salt, and put that on there.
All right.
Right, so that's plenty of the old sweet potato,
Yep.
that's for sure.
I think we're cooking for about 10 today.
Beautiful, then
Yep.
this will be perfect. We've got some carrots in there as well.
So we are going to peel the carrots today.
Oh, you don't need to peel the carrots if you don't want to, if you feel so inclined. Well, and you don't need to peel those potatoes.
No, they're good looking potatoes.
As long as you've got the good old bar mix that you can get in there. And
Yeah.
funny
Right.
like that, I get very proud of just doing normal things.
Right. I'm going to help you
All
with
right,
some
here
onions.
comes the. Hang on.
Did
Wait
they
a
really
minute.
work?
They sure do. They work on this side.
Yeah. No, they really work, because I'd cry my eyes out. How are you with onions?
I'm alright. I don't mind a good cry anyway. I'm man enough to
Admit
have a
that.
good cry every now and again. It's amazing I can cook at all, because my mother was an absolutely terrible cook, God rest her soul. But she wouldn't mind me saying she was a terrible cook. I remember Dad was a travelling salesman. He won awards. He was quite a valuable asset to his company, and one of the awards that he won was not a stock pot, what do they call them, pressure cooker.
Yeah.
We come home one time and the whole kitchen's just covered in like brown stuff, and the actual lid of the pressure cooker was still
Embedded
stuck
into
in the roof. And for years we had this like triangular kind of mark in the roof where Mum had experimented with a pressure cooker. And as I said, all this needs, I think that'll be probably enough there. All this will need is a bit of oil, and that's just about it as far as the prep for that's concerned, except for the fact that we have to cook off some celery and onions.
So will we do that in the bottom of the pot?
Do that in the bottom of the
Yeah.
pot. Yeah.
That's what I like. One pot, not too many dishes.
Absolutely. I want to be one of these guys.
Yeah.
But I can't. I'm too scared of
We can
cutting
speed
myself.
it up.
This is the one I've learned off MasterChef. Got my sharp knife. Whack all this palaver off. Do this one. Boom, 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 boom. And then do this one. Bang. Look at that. It's the greatest trick I've ever learned.
I'm impressed. Oh,
But that's just, I mean, that's just the way you make any soup, really, isn't it?
Yes.
You've got to have to cook that stuff off. Right, now while you're doing that, I can whack a bit of the old oil over here.
do we need any particular oil? It doesn't matter.
I'll just spread some over there. Some olive oil's good. Vegetable oil, I find, is probably a little bit better if you want to, when you're making like baked potatoes and stuff, you want them, they kind of seem to get hard, like they're harder
A
shell on the
crunchy outside. Now, how many to go in the pot?
About 4 of those, I reckon.
Okay.
Them. I will
I'll squish it.
do them ones. Well, there's going to be plenty of garlic in it, so
So we'll keep the vampires away.
vampires are good. These ones, I reckon we'll get these on first up. A little bit of pfeffer. Salz und Pfeffer from my German learning days. And they always say, don't they? It's all about the seasoning when it comes to
That's
this stuff.
right.
We'll make a little rosemary thing for the lamb, and we'll chop up some rosemary and some oil and salt. And
Rosemary from your garden.
from my garden. Oh,
Yeah.
sprigs. Oh, they're sprouting. They're flowering. Anyway, so it's
Okay.
good. All right, so let's get these bad boys in there. I reckon we can get them. On there. And then you just got to get that'll heat back up again,
Yeah.
and we'll be. I reckon that'll take about, I don't know, 35 minutes or something to kind of break them all down, and then as I say, we'll get that on, heat that up, put that in there, a bit of stock in it, and whip it up.
Away we go. On the way, you'll pass this gorgeous little cottage. It is a Mount Lofty Renter YHA wilderness cottage. Budget accommodation for small groups, families and friends of up to 10 people. Contact details are on the sign, and you too can stay at this gorgeous little spot. Okay, we found a gentleman nearly to the top. What's your name?
Chris.
Chris, lovely to meet you. How is your Mount Lofty journey today?
Oh, fantastic, beautiful day to be out here.
Isn't it?
So, but I try to do it rain, hail or shine about once a week if I can, maybe twice, but I never get twice. I usually try to get once in a week.
That's pretty good going though.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing that?
For about 6 years, I'd say.
Along the track, there's lots of little spots like this. Absolutely gorgeous to sit and look at the nature or have a rest. What's your favourite thing?
Coffee when we finished.
Same. And if you don't mind me asking, what's the PB? What's your personal best?
Well, my personal best is carrying Steve up the hill and still completing the task.
Very good.
Mine for walking is about 1 hour 19 up and down.
Jeepers, that's
Yeah.
good.
Oh, it's not too bad. I roll down.
Yeah. So do I.
Yeah.
So you guys have obviously been doing it for quite a while,
Yes, we have.
on and off.
Yeah, on and off over the years. We've done it quite a few times, up and down. Yep.
Yeah.
5, 10,
Maybe even
Years.
more.
more. Well, we're both Adelaide
yeah.
boys, so we grew up here playing sport here.
Yeah, we used to run up.
Oh no, that's just not right.
I know, not now it isn't, but we did. Yeah,
Well done, and you're still doing it all these years later.
yeah.
You've seen some changes, I bet.
Well, the new paths are
Yeah.
fantastic. But you're on about those changes. We both had hip replacements from sport and found it to be, just really appropriate in its a challenge physically.
Yeah.
And doesn't give us any grief on two artificial hips.
And helped with your recovery.
Recovery for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. There have been a few changes on the Mount Lofty Trail over the years. For those who have walked Lofty in the past, you would know that over these last 10 years or so, it has become more and more paved. And now it's pretty much covered from the bottom to the top. At the top is the Summit Cafe. And if it's open, you can have a coffee there. There's a bathroom as well, open when the restaurant is open. And there's also a gift shop up there. Now here is a site where there was a few years ago a massive landslide. It did an enormous amount of damage here. So if you haven't been up here for a while, you notice that there's all this new decking. There's been a great deal of work completed here over the last year in particular, making this walk safer for everybody. Okay, we're at my favourite bit. We've crossed the road because you do need to cross a vehicular road near the top, about 150 metres to go. It'll all be over soon, thankfully. Quite a few people passing us on the way up, but that's okay too. Just keep going, put one foot in front of the other and don't worry about anyone else. Get to the top in your own time. You can see the building now, you can see the restaurant. We'll go to the top, have a rest and speak to a few people. So you don't do it regularly?
I have been walking regularly at Morialta.
Right, oh, that's another good one.
Yes, I have back problems and I've been finding it really good for my back.
Awesome.
But I thought I'd do the tallest one of the lot, which is this one, yeah.
We made it! It's always an achievement to get here. We have been road testing the walk from Waterfall Gully to the Mount Lofty summit today. I hope you've enjoyed coming along for the ride, or the walk, as the case may be. Well, there's a little bit of a crowd up here. The hard part's over. It's time to turn around and walk the 4 kilometres back down.
All the colours flavour.
Yeah, flavour.
Chop that
That's looking good.
And then back on the heat to finish it off. Might have to put a bit more in there at some stage. Chop up the rosemary, fresh out of the Norton Summit garden of my mother-in-law. This is something I learnt on telly.
Very good.
You never take the knife off the board. See, do you know that? I've watched them do this. We mix that with the olive oil and then we kind of rub it all over the legs.
So the lambs on your farm, Dave, do
Yes.
they end up on your table?
Are my kids watching this? Yes. Well, we've only got enough room for a few of them to eat grass on our property. So, the ones that we don't need, we kind of eat. And gee, they're tasty. We named one. There was one called. There was two. We had salt and pepper, and then there was one called mint sauce.
Oh no.
But yeah, the kids.
Rosemary? Was it one called
Rosemary. That's good. That'll be next.
And thyme?
That'll be the next ones.
What about a wine glass?
That'll be perfect. Now that you mentioned wine,
Is it wine time?
might be wine time.
It's wine time somewhere.
I would say.
And there's your wine, sir.
Oh, lovely. My favourite wine. Produce from South Australia.
Yeah.
We grow some of the greatest wines, really. A friend of mine from Anderson Hill, Ben, who he and his wife actually sponsor the Streaming Not Screaming. They won this massive award, one of the best Shirazes in the world only recently. Just around the corner from my house they live. Lovely. Beautiful produce. Once again, this is probably South Australian. We do live in the greatest state on earth.
We do. And if we didn't appreciate it before, we absolutely appreciate it now.
Absolutely. Get out and see it. Cosy was right. All over with the good stuff. Which it's so simple. It's just, you know.
There we
thing
go,
is,
easy as.
If you put alfoil on it first, it can make it a bit soggy.
Right.
I've found in my
Experience.
which has been many and varied, and then it goes, and that's going to take, that'll probably take an hour and 30 minutes or so, but we'll keep an eye on it.
Alrighty. So a wine and a game of pool.
Rock on.
It's a challenge.
I love it.
Challenge accepted.
No worries.
Alright, well let's have a game. So you're from Newcastle originally.
Yep.
And you're an Adelaide boy now.
I am. Adopted Adelaide boy. I adopted this joint 15 and a half years ago or so. Yeah. Came down when my daughter was 6 months old, so it's kind of how I judge how long we've been here.
Yeah. And are you here to stay now?
Yeah, absolutely. We've put down roots. The kids are crow eaters. Katie's grew up here, so yeah, we've found a beautiful place to live, and we're very lucky to be living in the hills on a property and stuff. Yeah.
Speaking of which, you're local. I think you play a little bit of this up there.
I do. The boys will be laughing because they've made me captain again this season, and I'm terrible. I'm there to make up the numbers or have a good night on a Wednesday night. But,
good on you.
But the Scenic Hotel, yes, is our home. We've won one flag since I've been with them, and lost 3.
And do you play darts as well there?
I have had a bit of a go at darts. No good at that either.
No good.
Pub sports, just something to pass the time while you're drinking a few bevies.
Yeah, alrighty. Well, let's get started, shall we?
All right. Do you want a break?
I'll break.
All
Ladies.
right. Ladies first.
Yeah. Oh!
And goes the little one.
Got one in.
Straight into the trick shots. Brilliant.
Look out.
Look out indeed.
So Dave, things are starting to pick up a little bit on the concert front.
Yeah, absolutely. A few gigs are opening up. 2021's going to be a much better year than 2020, there's no doubt about that.
Oh.
Trick shots. No. Great shot. What do you say?
I tried to get it in that hole and it went in that hole.
Whatever it takes. It's not how, it's how many.
Oh, God. This isn't going to be very ladylike.
Oh, I'm getting
So, you and the boys have got some new music coming out too on the horizon?
Yeah, 2021 will be the 30th anniversary of the release of our first album, All For One. So we're going to re-record that and tour that as long as we can. And there's Angel stuff as well. We'll be touring the 40th anniversary of the Dark Room album. So there's plenty on, as well as new recordings to go as well. So it's just looking forward to being all able to get in the same studio together and nut some stuff out. And the Jets have got a vinyl coming out, I hear. Yeah, Jets on vinyl. It's been a long time since we've done anything on vinyl. We did the Bitter Pill EP, which was kind of just to check out how the technology works. Wow. That was a fluke. I just checked that I've got undies on. Yeah. Oh gosh. That's got to go in. You know, I just want to say thank God this is being filmed because nobody would believe it. Uh-oh, here we go. No. Oh. We know that you started with the Screaming Jets, and of course, me being an Adelaide girl, loved the Cold Chisel and the Angels. How big of a thrill for you? Oh, unreal. I mean, talking of two bands that were very instrumental in us, starting a band and wanting to, wanting to succeed. We used to watch Narara '83, I think, the Angels, live performance they did at this mad outdoor concert just outside of Sydney. We used to watch that religiously. We used to watch The Last Stand religiously. They were like things, they were like our textbooks, really.
And you have the...
They look pretty good.
10 out of 10.
Oh, that's fantastic. All right, there they are.
So you can have it as chunky or as frothy as you like.
They call it rustic, don't they?
That's
chunky.
Right, chunky.
The proof's going to be in the tasting, surely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see now I've left the garlic skin, like the garlic roasted down and the skins are in there, but they're all chopped up. I don't find it offensive. There's probably many who do.
So this is Dave Gleason's roasted vegetable soup.
It is indeed.
Roasted root vegetable
veggies.
soup.
The Gravox. I mean, it is definitely a stalwart of the industry. Now there's a bit of fat in there, obviously.
I don't mind a bit of fat.
Yeah, well, you know, everyone's very conscious nowadays, aren't
Well, I think sugar's going to kill us faster than fat.
they? Yeah, right. Let's see what we'll do. We'll do it a bit more than that. Just
Looking
taste
good,
that.
Dave.
Jeepers O'Leary.
You just need a little cravat.
I do.
Yeah.
Oh, shit, I knew that would be hot.
Thank you, Dave, for sharing these wonderful recipes with us today. I must admit, I'm surprised, pleasantly surprised.
I am too.
Everything worked out.
Now the meat's out here. You've got to rest your meat. They always say.
That's right.
Been resting mine for years.
So while that rests, I'll dish up some of the roasted root vegetable soup.
Unreal. All right. Here we go.
One for Dave. It's a great consistency.
Rustic. It's still rustic.
It's rustic. Cheers.
Cheers to you.
Thanks, Dave.
Oh, it's earthy.
Let's see. Nice.
I just love the sweetness that you get when you roast them off, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
And I thought, what's the difference between a root vegetable soup and a normal vegetable soup? And it actually is different.
It is a little, yeah, well obviously, I mean, because you can put all kinds of different vegetables in, but these are all obviously underground ones, so.
The root family.
That's where you get the nice earthiness from.
Definitely.
Bon appetit.
We've just stopped at the bottom of Waterfall Gully to have a nice warming coffee because it is starting to cool down a little bit out there, and we're talking to Andrew from Utopia. Now this is a gorgeous building, Andrew. How old is it?
About 108 years this year, so it was built back in 1912 and now in 2020, so 108 years.
It is a gorgeous old building. Do stop at Utopia if you are coming to Waterfall Gully. And of course you've also got all of us crazy people walking up and down the mountain who can pop in and have a coffee or an all-day breakfast.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much for talking to us today, Andrew.
You're welcome, thank you.
Thank you for joining me today. You've been with Cheryl Lee on Disgracefully Graceful. Hope you can join me again next time when we can grow a little bit older, disgracefully, together again. We're going up we do it on Tuesday. And we do it every week.